Greetings. Welcome to another edition of Where History Lives, presented by the Cave Creek Museum. Today we're going to explore the Great Seal of Arizona. Now, each state has a Great Seal, and each state will reflect something they're very proud of. Arizona is no different. 5 enterprises are reflected or symbolized on our seal. They include cattle, cotton, citrus, copper, and climate. Did you notice each starts with a C, and they are collectively known as the 5 C's of Arizona. So let's explore. Cattle and cattle ranching has a long history in the state of Arizona. In fact, it actually goes back to the late 1600s when the Spanish brought cattle into Arizona. The missionaries were the individuals that brought the cattle in Arizona. Our first cowboy is considered to be Father Kino. He was a Jesuit priest and brought numerous cattle from today's Mexico into the state. The industry was important then, and it's important now. In fact, as late as the 50s, the 1950s, there were more cattle in the state of Arizona than people. In fact, today there are just under 1 million head of cattle, and there are over 6,000 ranches. Cotton is an ancient crop. It was first domesticated 5,000 years ago. Some historians say it was domesticated 7,000 years ago. Now, in the Valley of the Sun, it was first cultivated by the Hohokam. The Hohokam were here before the Spaniards and certainly before the Anglos. They were growing corn, beans, squash, and cotton. And they arrived here 300 BC, and the Hohokam dissipated about 1450 AD. It was a very important crop for the Hohokam, and it was important in the state of Arizona. Today it brings in about $400 to $500 million a year. Now, interestingly, the top cotton in the world comes from Arizona, and it's named after the Hohokam because another name for the Hohokam is the Pima, also known as Egyptian cotton, the top cotton in the world. In 1889, a very hard-working farmer and entrepreneur brought in 1,800 citrus trees, and a new industry was born in the state of Arizona. His name was William J. Murphy, and he noticed 2 things. The Hohokam canals had now been revitalized by Anglos, and water was flowing throughout the valley. And there was a lot of land. And citrus requires water and land. By 1935, 21,000 acres were being cultivated with oranges, with lemons, with limes, with tangerines, with grapefruits. It was a wonderful industry. Oh, and by the way, William J. Murphy was the founder of Glendale, Arizona. Arizona is known as the Copper State. It's known as the Copper State because Arizona produces more copper than any other state in the Union. The industry generates between $4 and $5 billion a year, depending on commodity prices. That is quite an important industry. I want to go back to the seal, the Great Seal of Arizona. There is a miner on the seal. He is a copper miner. He's a famous copper miner in Bisbee. His name is George Warren. He was so important, a suburb of Bisbee is known as Warren, Arizona. The whole copper mining district is known as the Warren Mining District. Here's an interesting story. After he worked all day very hard mining copper, he would invest time in the local saloons. He enjoyed his whiskey. After spending some time, he bet a fellow in the saloon that he could outrun that fellow on his horse. And he wagered a small interest that he had in the Copper Queen mine. Guess what? He lost to the horse, and he lost in today's dollars over $500 million. Oh, the wonderful climate in Arizona. And yes, it is one of the 5 C's that promotes enterprise. So what is the enterprise? The first is tourism. People love the beautiful weather here. Interestingly, Phoenix has the most sunshine of any city in America. And do you know what number 2 is? It's Tucson. Now, when people arrive here, they're spending money. That is an important enterprise. But more importantly, many fall in love with the state of Arizona. And what happens? Eventually, some of them move here, and this promotes our growth. In fact, Phoenix is the #1 growth city in America. There are 2 Latin words on the Great Seal of Arizona, Datat Deus, and that means God enriches. That is our official state motto. I would like to thank you for joining us today for this edition of Where History Lives, presented by the Cave Creek Museum. And I would like to encourage you to visit the museum. I would like to encourage you to volunteer at the museum or become a member at the Cave Creek Museum. I can assure you, if you do, you too will be enriched.